everyone, welcome back to my channel, Bow and Arrow Tarot. Today we're going to get right into the January love reading for the sign of Leo. Alright, I'm going to get all the fire signs out today. And like I said in the other videos, I didn't want to do the January love readings before we were into 2020 because I didn't want to have any leftover 2019 energy. I wanted that all cleared away. And so here we are, January 2nd. Ready to get right into it for your monthly love outlook. Now, this is going to be for any kind of Leos. If you're attached, unattached, single, married, whatever the case may be, this is just a general love outlook. And it's really just one scenario that any given Leo may be going through. And so you may or may not resonate with this reading, and that's fine. Check out your other readings, which are linked below. You'll have your 2020 love outlook for the year, your 2020 general outlook. And please do excuse me if anywhere during this video I accidentally say 2019 because I'm still getting used to the new year. So let's get right into it, Leo, my lovely fire sign. What's going on for Leo this January 2020 in the area of love? All right, straight out, we have Seven of Swords, covered by the Magician. Death. Death showed up for the Aries reading. Four of Pentacles, Page of Wands, and Page of Pentacles. Wow. All right. We have a Five of Pentacles and Judgment, the Fool, and the Ten of Wands. All right, very interesting reading, Leo. The end of a lot of burden, big changes, the Hermit. Wow. All right. You've been through a lot of pain, Leo, right? You've been through a lot of pain, a lot of treachery, I think. And now this 2020 period is a period where you're just really wanting to walk the path alone. Let's get right into your reading. Seven of Swords at the center we have, and then covered by Magician energy. Now, the Seven of Swords is the card for treachery. It's the card for the thief in the night, right? It's also the card for futility. And I think for a lot of you, it may have been quite a year. This past year may have felt quite futile, right? You may have been in and out of various relationships and none of them seemed to work. It always seemed to fall apart. Whatever you do seemed to be futile. But yeah, at the same time, also Seven of Swords does talk about sort of treachery in the sense that, you know, it almost seems like things have been conspiring behind the scenes to make it not work out. You know, to make it so that your efforts are futile. And there may have been a lesson there that you needed to learn. And certainly, you know, sometimes the steps we take are sort of, they don't work because are they really the full steps? Have we maybe been half-stepping? Have we maybe been settling for relationships that really in the back of our mind we knew weren't really going to work? And so, you know, putting our best foot forward in those relationships doesn't really mean much if you know from the outset of it that you've settled for someone, you know. You're covered with Magician energy, and it's interesting because I think, Leo, this year has felt very much like you have definitely been sort of, you know, whatever relationships you've been in, you have still been very much the master of your own self, right? I feel, how shall I put it? I feel like, you know, this last period was very much a period of putting up with those that you know aren't on your level, you know? I'm trying to find the right words because I don't want to say that anybody is less than anyone else. Nobody is less than anyone else or more than anyone else. But there are certain types of people that, you know, when you get involved with somebody who you know is not really on your level, who you know is not somebody that if you were to lose them, you won't be so heartbroken. It's almost a form of protecting yourself, isn't it? Rather than going for someone who is on your level, and if it doesn't work out, it could be a real pain. You know, it could be a real heartache. And so in a lot of ways, I think that maybe some of the relationships have been futile for you this past period because you chose relationships where you were always going to be sort of in a better position than the other person, right? You know, it's like having relationships with people that aren't emotionally as strong as you, Leo. You are the 8 in the major arcana card for strength. So it's like, you know, choosing people to get involved with because they were easy. You know, because they perhaps were easy to, you know, to get involved with. You know, they weren't a challenge. Perhaps they just served a physical need for you just to be with someone, you know. But also in the same sense that, you know, knowing that you're in so totally different levels, getting involved with people like that, you know, you also were able to protect your heart. You got what you needed out of it, but you were able to protect your heart in the sense that if it didn't work out, it was no big loss anyway, because they were already not the type of person you really, truly, truly desired on all levels. Do you know what I mean? Feels very much like that. And certainly it has been a real futile effort this last year. Just nothing seems to have worked out. And again, to a certain degree, it's almost like you are all right with that. You know, we do have the Hermit here. And so this has been a real solitary path. I think that for a lot of you this past year also, and I'm saying this past year because this is the energy we're coming into January with. I think in January, you're very much realizing that, you know, this whole past period has really been a period where you have been alone. And so in a sense, even when you've been in some of these like sort of temporary, like shallow relationships, and which you knew you were kind of in a temporary shallow relationship, you were really walking a more solitary spiritual path. Do you know what I mean? And so in this way, you were able to keep somebody around perhaps for comfort, or just to go on dates with, or just to have like light enjoyment with. But at the heart of everything for you has really been a real sort of spiritual walk for you, a real sort of internal sort of path for you, almost saving the real bits of yourself for the real relationship once you were ready. Death is at the conscious, and 4 of Pentacles in the unconscious. So there's a lot of changes this January. Huge transformation on all levels. Death already showed up for Aries. And at the back of your mind, there's still some worry over money and your career, right? You do feel like you're still not quite where you want to be. And again, I think for a lot of you Leos, if you look back at your past readings, at least on my channel, you know, you've been really dealing with a lot of career and business decisions. You know, a lot of you have been starting projects or endeavors that are huge goals to achieve. And so, you know, part of you could only give so much to a relationship. You know, you could only give to a kind of shallow relationship because most of your energy was going towards maintaining the stability of your business. Yet in your conscious decision, a lot is changing. Conscious position with death, huge changes are coming in this January. And I want to pull a clarifier on this because I'm wondering exactly what has died inside of you in terms of relationships. It could be that you're ready now to really get involved in something a little bit deeper. Maybe hold off being involved with anyone until it's the right type of person that you're involved with. And again, in the back of your mind, most of your energy this January is very much on maintaining your financial stability, right? And certainly in love, you know, I'm going to say that really, you know, you don't want to get involved with anybody that sort of has anything to do with that. You want to be able, Leos, you know, you guys want to stand on your own 2 feet when it comes to your money, right? This is the type of sign you are and the type of energy that you carry. And so it's like you're keeping this very separate from your love life, right? You don't want to be involved with anybody who's going to impact your finances in any way, whether they draw on them or whether they help you with them, because you're so independent and you want to be able to be in control of your own finances and progress, right? In business. And so this is taking up a lot of your energy this month that still you may not be ready to pull some of that energy away from your career and your business to put into a deeper relationship, right? Page of Wands is the energy you've come into this January period with, and Page of Pentacles is the energy you come out of it with. Now, pages are lovely cards. I love the pages. All of the pages really represent a release of fear in that suit. So with Page of Wands, we are talking about overcoming the fear of following our ideals, our passions, letting our creative energies out, communicating creatively. The fear that's associated with that, you know, fear of ridicule or not being accepted or people not understanding you. You overcome that. And with Page of Wands, you are absolutely ready to go after your dream, you know, to go after your passions more than anything. To not be slowed down by what anybody else thinks. You have a real sense of confidence this January period that you're coming into, of course, because you are overall resonating with magician energy, which is so strong, right? So capable. You make things look easy. You know, that's what the magician is all about. The magician is really one of the highest cards for talent, right? And I'm going to come back to that. But in any case, Page of Wands is the energy you come into. So you absolutely are doubling down on following your passions, following your goals. And you round this month out. You come out of this month with a Page of Pentacles, which is being extremely practical in terms of manifesting your goals, your financial and career or business goals, right? And so whatever fears you have here with this Four of Pentacles this month, you are not being sort of deterred by anything. You are, you know, you're using your energy on a consistent and constant basis to put practical solutions in place. Page of Pentacles is extremely practical. He's able to sort of, you know, on the ground, come up with solutions to things to help follow, you know, his path in business or career. You know, if something is standing in your way at the job, then you're going to do something very practical to get rid of that obstacle. If you need to get more education, you're going to do that. If you need to get advice from somebody, you're going to do that. If there's paperwork that needs to get done, then you're going to do that. These are the practical steps, you know, having solutions to everyday obstacles and problems that affect your stability financially or your stability with career. And so you're very much sort of, again, just like with the last readings, as I've said, Leo, this January period is very, very much about you sort of establishing yourself in your business and in your career so that you can have the energy to truly put into a real relationship and not one that is so wishy-washy, right? So beneath you, I want to say, you know, so not for you, Leo, not, you know, not on your level, shallow, definitely shallow, right? You come into this month with a Five of Pentacles and Judgment. So there was an issue with someone, I think, most recently, and this could have been one of these relationships. And I do say there were numerous, perhaps, but it could have just been, you know, one relationship that most recently you had. But in any case, I want to say the most recent or one of those relationships that broke up, there's a real feeling of perhaps you were to, I'm going to say, maybe there's time to look over it. Maybe there's time to review how you acted, how the other person acted, maybe to see it from different sides. You know, it was a real sort of split. There was a split somewhere along the line that you're bringing, and you're bringing this energy into January. Five of Pentacles is when we have a power struggle, right? Five is always the number for power struggle, and all the five cards we find power struggle. So with Five of Pentacles, it's a power struggle that you have with someone who up until then you were very close with, you know, family even, right? Sharing similar faiths or focus or intentions, right? Ideas about life. But the struggle, the power struggle happened anyway, and there was a divide or a split, right? And you're the one who had to pay the price financially, right? You may have had to sort of literally move and then pay more money or something like that. But whatever the case is, the split between you and this dynamic, personal or group of people, but here we're talking about love, so I think it was certainly a split in a love dynamic, kind of left you out in the cold for a bit, you know, kind of left you picking up the pieces and having to start over again. You guys maybe shared a living space that you can't share anymore, and now you have to find a new living space. Or perhaps there was business involved and now has to be split up, and now you're having to sort of pay a bit more extra to sort of get back to where you want to be. In any case, though, there was a real sort of painful divide. And it was very personal because, of course, you felt very sort of turned out into the street, you know, just alienated as a result. But Five of Pentacles is very much a card of 2 steps backward, 5 steps forward. Almost always happens in a power dynamic where it was inevitable that it was going to fall apart. It was inevitable that there will be a divide. And it was good in a way that it happened because now more options are open to you. And this energy you're bringing into this month of really picking yourself up, starting all over again, is met with judgment. And judgment does talk about sort of relaxing your hypercriticism of yourself, of others, beginning to see a situation from multiple sides rather than just one narrow viewpoint, and really letting go of guilt, you know, letting go of judgments that you put on yourself, judgments perhaps that you've put on others, perhaps a bit unfairly or too harshly. Judgment can also indicate, you know, a feeling of wanting to reconcile, possibly. Some of you may feel, or you may realize that this dynamic fell apart, and there may be a chance for a little bit of a reconciliation here, even though it was very painful for you, even though you definitely had to pay a financial price coming out of it. Your hopes and dreams and your fears. Well, your hopes and dreams and your fears are, and your outcome. I'm going to hold these both up because they're very much entwined, because you hope and dream for a new beginning, but you also fear it, right? You know, it's interesting that this position is for both our dreams and our fears and nightmares, right? And so in this way, yeah, you want a whole new beginning. You want an adventure in your life, Leo. Certainly in love. You want a beginning in love that you can count on. You want a beginning in love that is an adventure, but at the same time, you fear another beginning. I think right now you're just not ready to get involved with anybody for a while. Right? Because I think you did indeed, you know, for whatever reason you chose these relationships, like I said earlier, that were a little bit not, you know, sort of really for you and weren't really that deep. Still, it was painful, and it was still probably a lot of energy that you put in, and I think you're just not ready to do that unless it's worth it. And so, yeah, you want a new beginning, you want an adventure in love, but you also you're not ready for it, and you know, and you don't want to put the energy into it just yet. 10 of Wands is what you come out with, and it's a laying down of burdens and baggage that you've carried, and I think that's the reason why you don't want a new beginning, because there's still this baggage that you're wanting to lay down. Whatever these hang-ups, you know, they're hang-ups, they're baggage, they could be you know, just ways of behaving that you've held onto as a crutch that no longer serve you, that hinder you from getting closer to the real love you want. And you really want to lay all of that down. Whatever this baggage was that continued to keep you coming back to these sort of futile sort of relationships, you're wanting to lay that down before you move on, because you realize, I think, Leo, a lot of you, certainly if you're resonating with this reading, you're realizing that, you know, enough's enough. You know, you can't keep holding on to whatever this is that keeps leading you into sort of the type of relationships that you know aren't going to work out, that you know you're really not that in love with the person. You're kind of just putting up with them, you know. And so I think for a lot of you, you are definitely staying with that hermit energy this month. You are not ready to pull out any of your energy from what you're putting into your career and your business just yet, to picking yourself back up and rebuilding yourself. You're not willing to do any of that just yet. You absolutely want to be in a healthy space emotionally, mentally, and financially before you do that. And I think for a lot of you, that is absolutely sort of going to be how you go forth in January. You may not even decide to date anybody this month. I'm going to be honest with you. You may decide to just say January is a no-go for dating, or me sort of giving anyone my energy, you know. I'm just going to save it for myself. I'm just going to keep it to myself and keep it for my business. Because right now, the business and career moves that a lot of Leos are making are huge. They're huge goals and endeavors that you're trying to achieve. And I think you realize that once you know your finances are no longer being threatened, that they are absolutely stable, I think you're going to feel more comfortable to be able to really let go of all of that you're putting into it, and be able to sort of shift some of that energy towards a real love connection. But you're not ready. For those of you who are resonating with this reading, you're certainly not ready for it just yet, you know. And you are resonating with that beautiful magician energy. I did say I wanted to come back to the magician. The magician is a lot of times interpreted as simply manifesting. It's much deeper than that. The magician is using all of his talents in the realms of earth, water, fire, and air. This is why he has all 4 symbols of the suits there at the table. He's using all of his skills in such a way that he makes accomplishing things look easy. He makes it look like it's magic, you know. Things that are extremely difficult for others to accomplish, the magician is making it look like child's play. And so it is one of the highest cards for talent in a lot of ways. You know, you have an extreme amount of talent in a particular area, Leo. And, yeah, you just make it look so damn easy. You know, and it's the same thing I think for love as well right now too. It's like you really are resonating quite highly on an emotionally healthy level, but there is still some of these burdens and crutches that you have to let go of. Ace of Wands, the Chariot, there's your Chariot, your path. Two of Cups and Empress. So there we have it. Yeah. Bottom of the deck, there's your Ten of Wands. Okay, so it's all about letting go of these last bit of burdens. Ten of Wands, Ten of Wands. Letting go of these last bit of burdens, letting go any baggage, letting go of the last hang-ups that you've been holding on to, right? I think, and so here, this is the clarifier I was wondering about for death, you know. Ace of Wands comes in, and it's really strong passion, right? And I think that's the thing for you. You know, Leo, you know, there's been a transformation inside of you that, you know, you're not happy just to date or sort of just be amused for a little while or entertained for a little while you take your mind off of your job. You want passion now, and you won't settle for anything less. You want it to be a burning fire, love. You don't want it to be, you know, a little sizzle. You know what I mean? The Ace of Wands is the great phallic symbol in the deck, and so it can indicate, you know, you want something where there's huge attraction, huge magnetism, you're on the same level, there's a real feeling of getting to know somebody who is going to bring fire into your life, not just like, ugh, you know, getting to know, you know, dealing with somebody that you can only tolerate for one evening and then you need like a week off because of the fact you're really not that interested. You know, you want fire. And I think that's the big change. And I think for a lot of you, certainly, like I said, if you're resonating with this reading, there's so much transformation that's been happening in your life physically, in terms of your environment, your finances, and also in terms of your desires and what you want for yourself, that you're just not willing to settle for anything less. You know, in your unconscious position, you are on a journey. And this is what I mean. This reading is certainly for Leos who are on such a huge journey when it comes to their personal life, aside from being connected to anybody else. In terms of following your goals and your dreams for finance abundance, for career abundance, right? And to have a stable and abundant environment. This is all part of the path that you're on, and this is the most important thing for you right now, the Chariot, you know. And in terms of, you know, the Chariot talks about laying the way, laying the foundation, so that once the Chariot is engaged, it reaches its destination because it's moving along the right path. All of this is also very much dependent on how stable you are financially, and this is how comfortable you will feel to give your heart to someone else. Because you know, as long as you're financially stable and happy with your career, if something goes wrong in a love connection, it's not going to emotionally cripple you, because everything else in your life you've worked so hard for building up, that's who you are. You know, you can be sad, you can be heartbroken, but you won't be sort of like devastated, because you have so much good things happening in your life in terms of your career, your business, your finances, that you have the ability to pick yourself up again. And I think this is one of the reasons why you want this part of your life to be set and, you know, set, stable, and on its way before giving your love away to anybody. Page of Wands, Two of Cups. So this fear, you know, Page of Wands, like I said earlier, it's an ideal of really going after your heart's desire. Is what you come into this month with. And a lot of this does indeed have to do with your personal goals and ambitions. But again, it has to do with a love connection too. You simply don't want a wishy-washy connection. And you're willing to wait. You're willing to go after your passions in love as well. But they have to be passionate, right? They have to be in line with your ideals. This Two of Cups love connection has to be someone that you're not just tolerating or settling for, but there's someone who creates that fire inside of you, you know, and you're not afraid of it. You know, don't get me wrong. You may have been, and I don't even think earlier this year you were necessarily afraid of that. I just think it was easier because you were using so much energy trying to get your life on a certain path. But now it's like, okay, you're ready also in terms of not wasting any energy on anyone or any love connection unless it falls completely in line with what you truly desire and not, like I said, what you're settling for. Page of Pentacles is covered with Empress. And so again, This is what I mean by wanting to make sure that your finances and career are exactly where they are, because this is where you are pouring your heart and soul into keeping yourself creative, keeping yourself sort of nourishing yourself, nurturing yourself. Empress energy is all about pouring, you know, your love and energy into yourself so that you can maintain yourself. It talks about the beauty that we have within ourselves being sort of mirrored in our environment and how we live and what we do in our lives, right? And so this is all hugely important to you. So certainly we're talking again about a Leo whose career, whose financial stability is all part of their sense of security, right? Sense of power, their feminine power center. And making sure certainly that you remain creative and you remain able to express yourself creatively, which is ultimately what you truly desire, and which is ultimately what will make you this beautiful sort of divine feminine. Again, my readings are not gender specific, so this is, we're just talking about energies here, but an Empress energy can resonate with male, female, it doesn't matter. But the Empress is all about taking care of yourself, putting that devotion into yourself, putting that nurturing into yourself, cultivating your creative expression so that when you do express yourself, you're expressing who you truly are, and all of this is what makes you extremely attractive to the outside world and really sort of the prize, You don't want to lose yourself in another wishy-washy connection. You want to sort of maintain that Empress energy so that when you get your connection, you're going to have a connection with someone who mirrors you, who is just as much an Empress or Emperor as you are, right? Depending on your orientation, right? And so, very strong, very beautiful, Definitely this January is the end of a period of carrying burdens. With this Ten of Wands, which has come out to reaffirm the outcome. Letting go of burdens, letting go of baggage, and really walking a solitary walk in love until you find the right connection, the true connection, a real connection that you can sink all of your sort of real love energy into, and certainly not wasting any more time. All right, my Leos, my lovely Leos, this is your reading for January. I do hope it resonated with you. Please like, subscribe, and share. If you want to get a private reading, follow the link on the top of your screen or check out the Tarot Answer service, which I provide. It's a 10-minute recorded answer to any of your questions. You give me the question, a little bit of background information. I usually deliver those readings within 4 hours of confirming the booking or confirming the service once you've ordered it. So it's a quick turnaround, it's the same day answer turnaround to a question. It's a good way to check out whether or not you actually want to get a full private reading. Check out your other readings in the link in the descriptions, which are linked: 2020 Outlook, 2020 Love Outlook. And that's it. I hope you have a wonderful January 2020. Thank you so much for checking out this video, and I shall see you in the middle of the month for the mid-month love checkup. Bye-bye now.